Hey guys, Craig from Dentec Safety. Today we're going to dive into the world of safety cutting knives. All right, we're going to be going over Slice ceramic cutting tools today. And what's really unique about Slice is not only have they re-engineered the handles, but they also re-engineered the blade. They're really the only company out there that also re-engineered the blade for a finger-friendly design. And that is pretty cool because at the end of the day, even though you have a safety handle, which a lot of our competitors claim to have, they don't have that finger-friendly blade, which is ultimately designed to reduce cuts, reduce lacerations, and reduce downtime. So a couple of the unique features with Slice, they've been around for about 2+ decades now, and they've completely color-coded their system here. So when they first came out to market, the products were really designed to go through double-walled corrugated cardboard. Probably about 95% of the shipping containers that we use globally, it'll deliver to you in double-walled corrugated cardboard. And so when Slice first started to develop products, it was really geared to go through double-walled corrugated cardboard and then protect the product inside the packaging as well as protecting the person as well. And so the benefits are really twofold: protect the person, protect the product inside the package. Now, as Slice has kind of gone through its iterations and its developments and really listened to the end consumer, they've developed a huge family of products, and it's all about finding the right tool for the right job. But one of the really unique things that I love about Slice is that they have color-coded their safety system throughout the whole family as well. And so, as you can see here, there's an orange inlay. There's also green, which means auto-retractable. I'll talk more about that in a second, as well as blue, which is called a smart retract. But typically with their orange manual position here, you can either extend the blade a little bit or you can extend it fully out in order to increase that cutting depth that's there as well. So this is one of their box cutters. It was one of their original designs. It's actually a Red Dot Design Award winner as well for unique design in industrial safety. But what I love about this is that hook shape here is really intended to make an ergonomically stable platform, and an operator can draw back utilizing some larger muscles in the forearm as opposed to just loading up those smaller tarsal muscles that are in the wrist and in the hand. And so if we actually take a look at how this product cuts, we can create that strong, stable cutting platform, draw back, and you're getting a very nice, crisp, clean cut. And so when we look at the auto-retractable version of that same tool, what you get here when you slide that button forward, as soon as you release your thumb or your finger from that button, the blade is automatically going to retract. That's there. So we have our orange in the manual position, we have our green in the auto-retractable position there. And then a little while ago, Slice also developed a Smarty Retract series. So this is one of the most popular styles of knives in the Slice family. This would be their utility cutter. As you can see, it's got a multi-position manual blade here. I realize that this is backwards, but actually, let's go there. One of the really cool parts about Slice is that everything is ambidextrous right out of the box. And so you can see with this series of products here, it's a tool-free blade change. This knife happens to be set up for a lefty at the moment, but I unlock the hatch, move it into the unlock position here, remove the little hatch door. There's a little locking mechanism here. What I can do is slide it into the unlock position, flip that blade around, keep sliding that locking mechanism into the locked position now, and then again, replace the access hatch, and voila. Now this knife is set up for a right-handed person. So some really cool capabilities. Basically the entire offering from Slice is like that, ambidextrous right out of the box. And whether you're talking the multi-position utility knife with orange, whether you're talking the auto retractable green version, or that smart retract, we're coming back here, this actually spring loads. And so even though your finger is still on the trigger, spring loaded, and as that knife leaves the cut, that blade is automatically going to retract backwards. So they offer this Smarty series in a few different orientations. And what's really cool is that when we go to cut boxes or packaging or anything else, we're always inclined to cut towards ourselves. And that's really where the Smart Retract version is super helpful, because you don't have to change the process in which you're doing something. As soon as that blade releases from the cut, it automatically retracts back into the handle itself. Very, very safe. Now, I talked a little bit earlier about that finger-friendly design that Slice has with its blade. I'm actually just going to unlock this one again, and I'll speak to that a little bit more because it's very unique in the market. And so the way Slice actually sharpens its blades, it provides that finger-friendly design. I would never do this with a metal blade. I'd be bleeding horribly right now. But with Slice's ceramic blade, because of the way they bevel the edges and they sharpen it, it still means that you can get a very nice, crisp, clean cut with being much, much safer for the operator themselves. And so again, as Slice has evolved and generated new products in the market, it's always been to try and find the right tool for the right job and find the safest tool and how to cut the safest for that application as well. And so it's really evolved from box cutters to more utility knives. This utility knife was actually developed specifically in conjunction with an end user who was going through triple-walled corrugated cardboard. I mentioned earlier that the box cutter and its blade depth was meant to go through double-walled corrugated cardboard. But this particular end user that Slice was working with, well, they were opening up vintage wine. And vintage wine, really, really expensive, they ship it in a thicker cardboard. And so those operators needed something with a larger depth or a longer depth with their blade, and so they could more easily cut into those vintage wine cases. And so that was one of those development processes that Slice went through, and they're great for listening to end users. One of the other really unique products that Slice eventually designed, again, you can see this is more the industrial knife, okay? Its blade depth can actually go out 4 inches. And so when we have the industrial knife, again, both available in manual position or an auto retractable version here, this actually was designed in accordance or in conjunction with Owens Corning, the pink insulation people, because those insulation installers are working very, very quickly, and having a long exposed blade, if you have an accidental injury, that can severely lacerate your legs or other parts of your body. Thankfully, a lot of organizations these days will use cut-resistant gloves. And those are great. They help prevent a lot of hand injuries and lacerations. But the reality is that cut protection gloves only protect your hands. And so Slice will actually work to protect other parts of your body that aren't protected by a cut protection glove. And so that all comes back to that finger-friendly design that Slice has and how they sharpen their blades. Now, there's a lot of other periphery benefits to Slice as well. And some of them are highlighted on our little display case here. But one of the big benefits of using a ceramic blade is that on average, that ceramic, because it's much, much harder than steel, it's actually going to last about 11.2 times longer on average versus metal. When we look at the Mohs hardness scale, MOHS, for those of you who are familiar, it's how you assign a hardness to different materials. So diamond is actually the hardest substance known to man. It's a 10 on the Mohs scale. Most traditional steel blades, well, steel is about a 4. Maybe a carbon steel is about a 4.5 on the Mohs scale. Whereas ceramic actually ranks in at an 8.2 on a Mohs scale. So the fact that ceramic is much, much harder than steel means that you're getting a much longer service life out of the ceramic blade as well. And so there's less blade changeouts, there is less dulling. And one of the reasons why we tend to see so many cuts and lacerations with metal blade products is that metal dulls out quite quickly. First of all, manufacturers will tend to over-sharpen metal blades because they dull out so quickly. And after 100, 200, 250 cuts, what happens is that users start to aggressively hack at what they're trying to cut through because the metal blade has dulled out so quickly and they don't want to go and replace the blade. So what happens with slice is that it stays in that perfect cutting zone much, much longer because the service life on the ceramic blade is much, much longer. And so there's far less blade changeouts, and there can be an operational cost savings because you're not having to change that blade out nearly as often. Now again, this is one of the drywall knives that Slice came out with a little while ago. It's ideal for cutting and scoring drywall. What I love about this guy is that its safety cap is built right into the handle. Super nifty. So you never lose the safety cap. When you want to put it in your pocket, boom, there you go, and that never goes missing. You could also take a screwdriver or a quarter, or just even twist that with your finger, and that allows you to change out the blade, again, very, very quickly and easily. These trapezoidal blades are dual-sided as well. So within one blade, essentially you're getting like 22.4 times the service life just by flipping it end for end and swapping that blade out. So some really, really cool stuff there. As Slice continued on its development in product, some end users came back and they said, you know what? This glass-filled nylon handle is fantastic, but I really like the feel of a more robust aluminum handle. And a lot of knives are made with metal handles. And so Slice said, you know what? We can bring this safety game to metal handles as well. And again, they offer a whole series of metal handled knives that will accommodate the Slice blades as well. Now, what I love about these, I was talking about the trapezoidal blade a little while ago. This here just happens to have a push button feature where you can easily replace the blade. And again, it is manual in nature, so you can extend it a little bit or a lot there. But some really, really neat product development coming out of Slice over the last few years. One of the latest product developments that Slice came out with is a new squeeze trigger design. Now, this is one of my favorites because ergonomically, when you squeeze that handle, it creates a very comfortable grip in the hand. And so there's a whole series of auto retractable. As you can see, I release the handle and that blade automatically goes back into the housing, as well as smart retract blades here as well. So again, when that blade is spring activated, as you release from that cutting material, that blade automatically goes away. Again, very easy, toolless blade change that's there, and it is ambidextrous in both left and right out of the box. So very, very easy to use. Now, of course, what cutting tool family wouldn't be complete without a line of scissors as well? Slice is actually California-based company, and the self-opening scissor was a big request from the marijuana industry. California tended to be one of the leading states in the US that legalized marijuana. And so this product was heavily adopted in the marijuana cultivation industry because Slice and the ceramic is easier to clean and it never rusts. Again, that's one of those periphery benefits of utilizing ceramic as its cutting material. So they have a wide variety of scissors, whether it's manually opening and closing. There are large handled scissors like this, where you can actually insert 4 of your fingers and your thumb. There's also pointed tip scissors. So depending on what you want to cut, there's some really, really cool stuff. And again, ceramic, it doesn't spark, it doesn't rust, it's chemically inert, it's non-conductive, it's safe in autoclave environments up to 1600 degrees Celsius. So very, very easy to autoclave and to clean repeatedly. But the list of benefits with Slice tools goes on and on and on. They continue to invent and augment their product offering. They've introduced an entire line of scrapers, all the way from mini scrapers to regular traditional handheld scrapers. This is one of their long-handled scrapers. And again, if you've ever had the task of changing out a scraper blade, you'll know how hazardous that can be. A lot of incidents and accidents occur when we're just conducting blade changeouts on these products. And so with Slice, a lot of that risk is eliminated because of that finger-friendly design that's there. And so there's long-handled scrapers, floor scrapers. There is an entire product family to basically ensure that you're constantly using the right tool for the right job and having the safest possible product in your hands when you're performing those vital tasks. Thanks very much for spending some time with me today and allowing me to walk through the Slice family of safety cutting knives using the advanced finger-friendly ceramic design. Thank you.